Hey y'all, this is Whitney, and welcome back to another episode of Spastic Chatter. This week I have with me Laura Andert, and she is a disability inclusion business partnership consultant. That is a mouthful, but I got it out.
You got it.
So I'm excited to have her on and chat about all things cerebral palsy and disability. We don't know where the conversation is going to go, but we'll see as the episode unfolds. I will let Laura introduce herself, and then we will get on to the conversation. So take it away, Laura.
Hi, everyone. I'm Laura Andert. Thank you again, Whitney, for that wonderful introduction. I know my job title is a long job title, but you got it. Sometimes I have to think about what my job title is and think about it and say it in full to people. And sometimes I have to pause because I helped create my job title and I wanted disability inclusion a part of my job title. A part of my job title. Originally, my supervisor came up with business partnership consultant, but then she helped me create or add in disability inclusion. So that is my full title, Disability Inclusion Business Partnership Consultant.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a mouthful, especially for someone with a spastic cerebral palsy. But as long as I'm sure the more you say it, like the easier it gets. So I kind of want to with you. I kind of want to take it back to the very beginning. Like before we got on this call, I mentioned that if you Google the term cerebral palsy, it comes up with a childhood disability. So I'm curious, from your perspective, would you say your childhood was any different from the quote unquote like normal childhood? Like whenever somebody asks me that, I'm just like, it was a normal childhood. Like I don't see anything different. So how is your childhood growing up with CP?
Yep. Yes, that is a great question. Thank you, Whitney. First of all, I wanna say that I was born with cerebral palsy, but my parents didn't know I was born with it. I was officially diagnosed at 2 or 3 years old. I think 2 years old. And the doctors and specialists I had said she could go in life without ever walking or talking, and she wouldn't be able to do the things a normal person would be able to do. And like, what does that mean? What? Yeah, I mean, yeah, I did not like that. I wish I wish I was able to comprehend as an infant what the doctors were telling and specialists were telling my parents. As in, like, excuse me, you can't tell me, or you can't tell them I'm gonna go in life without ever walking or talking. Like, you don't know that. Like, I'm okay, I made it this far. I'm gonna be able to persevere. I mean, that's what, now thinking back, I'm like, that's what I would have told my doctors and specialists, because they don't know anything. So, and so when I was literally taken home from the hospital, my parents were like, okay, so it's going to be a little bit of a challenge with me having a disability, but we're going to try to get her the best care we can. And I was working with occupational therapists, speech therapists to help me walk and talk at a young age. Growing up, I should say. And then when I entered school, elementary school, you know, I was able to walk, but it was hard for me. I had to get braces on my feet to help me walk. And I do walk at a slower pace. Even now, I do. But I'm able to walk. Yes. So, and I'm able to talk. Sometimes when information is thrown at me all at once, sometimes I have trouble processing it. Like I hear what the person's saying, but I'm like, what? I'm gonna say that again.
Yeah, so, I kind of think that's like a CP thing. Like we're trying to do everything. We're trying to process like multiple things. It's like sort of like pronouncing your title. Like I knew what I wanted to say, but I just had to like sit there and think about it. Like I make sure that I get it all out correctly. So I kind of think that like the processing thing is like CP related, because I don't know if it's because we have to put so much energy in what we do that like that's just an extra, like processing is just like an extra step, if that makes sense. I know.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm curious. It sounds like you have like a good support system and like who advocated for you throughout your childhood. What did your school age years look like? Like, were you like mainstreamed throughout your K through 12?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. I was mainstreamed K through 12, but I was also enrolled in special education. I had a case manager up until I graduated high school. I worked with a physical and health disabilities teacher. She worked with me literally since third grade up until I graduated. For example, we would meet every 2 weeks and just talk about my homework load, how I can advocate for myself and ask for a modification. We would work on trying out different devices to help me participate in class. Like it's hard for me to write, to hold a pencil. I am shaky when I write. When I say the word shaky, that's such a funny word because I feel like non-disabled people, they get shaky at times. But, if they're nervous or whenever, but for me, when it comes to writing, like I shake a lot. My handwriting isn't the best. So we would work on just trying out different devices to help me type or get the teacher's lecture or notes or anything else that would help me benefit in participating in class and mainstream classes, if that makes sense. It's kind of a mouthful. I was enrolled in adaptive phys class. I would say, which is kind of different because gym class was always so hard for me to keep up with the other kids who didn't have disabilities. I think I was enrolled in adaptive phys in middle school. And then in high school I was, and I loved it. I felt comfortable. I could do the activities at a slower pace. And so altogether, I could go on and on about it, about my experience. Altogether, it was an exhausting experience with having CP in school. Because, you know, working on homework, for example, it would take me like 5 or 6 hours a night, just because to comprehend everything, to type out everything, to study for tests. And so I had a great support system in school, but that's why I didn't pursue college. And I'm glad I didn't. I'm happy where I'm at, so happy, but I didn't want to go through it again. So, yeah.
It sounds like you were in a bigger school system, or were you that had more resources for students with disabilities? Like, I compare. I'm just comparing my experience. Like I came from, my graduating class was 43 people, and I was the only person with a physical disability that was mainstreamed in my school. So like I didn't have like the resources that you're describing, like the adaptive phi ed classes. They just dismissed me from phi ed altogether.
Lucky.
Like
Lucky.
they just dismissed me from the whole thing. And like what they did for me in school is that I would go, like I had the option of going to content mastery, like which is like a separate, like I would go out of the general ed class into a room that had like less people in it, that had like teachers that could assist one-on-one if I needed it. But then as I got older, like that worked through like middle school and things like that. But I kind of used it as I got older. I realized that I kind of used that accommodation as like an escape. As like, if I didn't want to be in the classroom, I could just go to content mastery and escape from the reality of school. But like I kind of caught myself doing that. So like my senior year of high school, like I made the decision to not go to content mastery at all during that year, even if the teacher like gave me the option. I'm like, no, I don't want to. Like I made that decision for myself, and I think it helped me grow like in my academics because I ended up going to college and like getting a bachelor's and then a master's degree. So I think like what I'm trying to say is that if you like in my situation, if like I pushed myself because I saw myself using the accommodation not for what it was meant for. Like it was just, I used it just to get out of the classroom whenever I wanted to. I'm like I don't, but
Wow.
I don't, yeah, I'm kind of rambling, but hopefully this makes sense and you can kind of resonate with, I'm just trying to show the diversity of cerebral palsy and like the disability community, that like our journeys are not all alike, if that makes sense. So with that being said, how did you since you didn't go to college, what did your journey look like after you graduated high school, and how did you end up in the role that you are now?
That is a great, great question. I love all of your questions, Whitney. So I've had quite the journey, as in I started working in jobs where I loved them, but it wasn't meant for me long term going forward. I knew as I truly accepted my cerebral palsy and how I advocated for myself and persevered, I knew that I wanted to be a voice for other people with disabilities and be a mentor to them and work with job seekers with disabilities and really incorporate my experience into telling them you can do anything you want in any way you want. It doesn't matter. I went from working at Panera Bread. I love their soup and salad. And I was a dining room greeter for them. So I greeted customers. And then I went on to working for Lifetime Fitness. Growing up, I loved going to hotels with my family when we would travel. And I love the whole hospitality aspect of it. And Whitney, truth be told, I wanted to be a hotel traveling manager and travel to different states and manage hotels. But that didn't happen, and it's not going to happen. I don't want to do that anymore. So I got a job at Lifetime Fitness, and I was in that position for 7 years. And I was doing the same thing with additional tasks. I was cleaning locker rooms, greeting members, answering phones, working the front desk, filling in at times. But I knew there was a greater purpose deep in my heart. And it wasn't until my hours got cut at Lifetime and my position was kind of dwindling down because the facility I was at in Minnesota was getting to be at a slower pace, especially in the summer, if that makes sense. And so that just made me persevere and advocate for myself even further to get a job as a operations assistant working for a digital accessibility company. So I was working with other professionals with disabilities, and I was assisting them in any way they needed me to. I was the assistant to my manager. I was doing administrative tasks. And then fast forward to now, up to December 21, I got a job as a disability inclusion business partnership consultant. Again, long title. And now I am truly doing what I am meant to do thus far. I am helping and educate Fortune 500 companies about hiring people with disabilities and what all that means to hire someone with a disability. We help make customized positions for those job seekers with disabilities in those companies. And I just love what I get to do now. And I'm so thankful. My company here in Minnesota for giving me the opportunity to do this role that I've been dreaming of, but I didn't know what it would look like. So that's where I am at now, and I love it.
That's very cool. Like, I have a background in the vocational side of helping people with disabilities. My bachelor's is in rehab, is in rehabilitation services, and like I've taught people with disabilities like independent living skill classes, and a lot of that's the rest, like job skills like resume writing and things like that. So so I really enjoy that aspect of work also. So and I think your story will really resonate with people because you're proof that you don't necessarily need that like a college degree to go out and like pursue your career and your dreams, because I think everybody is like focused on, our society today is focused on that piece of paper, and like
Yes.
and I'm speaking and I have 2 degrees, but it's not all about that degree. It's about experience and like putting yourself out there and like just not taking that risk, and not taking, like, if you don't take the risk, I always say the worst that can happen is somebody says no. Like much like you, my career started as a volunteer position because I couldn't find work as a disabled person, so I started volunteering, and then that volunteering led to a paid position, and now I'm number 2 within a company. So like,
Wow.
so yeah, like while our stories are different, the perseverance aspect is still there. So with all that being said, Laura, do you have any advice for those watching that maybe are in there, are looking for a job, or like unsure of where they want to go next, or any kind of life advice?
Yes. I just wanted to say before we log off here, I just wanted to say that, like I said in the middle of what I was saying before, how I got to where I was now, I like perseverance and self-advocating for yourself is huge. And you can, when you put your mind to something and you focus on it and you just do what you need to do to get that company's attention when it comes to obtaining employment, you guys can do it. You guys can do anything you can put your mind to. Just keep on persevering in what you want. And when you receive no for an answer or not at this time, if you still want it, just keep on doing it and just keep on persevering and keep on following up with companies. And until you get that feeling of, okay, this isn't going to go anywhere, maybe this isn't a good fit for me, that's when you need to stop. But if you feel like you're going to work there someday, just keep it up. Keep up the faith. Because I'm telling you guys, perseverance and self-advocating for yourself works. So
Awesome.
That's what I wanted to say.
That's great. That's great advice. Where can people follow you, like on social media, and keep up with you, Laura? Are you active on social media?
Yes, I'm active on LinkedIn. I would give you my Facebook information, but I don't really use Facebook. I really don't. So yeah, I'm not going to see my Facebook name, but you can follow me on LinkedIn at Laura. Just look up Laura Andert, Greater Minneapolis area. Again, that long title, Disability Inclusion Business Partnership Consultant at Inclusive Networking. So
yeah. I will find you on LinkedIn and put the links in the description for anyone that wants to follow you. And I thank you for being a guest on Spastic Chatter. I really enjoyed talking with you. And for those of you watching, if you ever want to be a guest, please comment wherever you see this video, and I'd love to have you. And until next time, I will talk to everyone later.
Thank you, Whitney. Bye, everyone.